Alright, so this shelf, well, actually, half of this shelf, I basically have some of my favorite action stars from the 90s and early 2000s or whatever, and kind of just have them all right here. Now, they are alphabetized by the last name of the actor. So, here I have Gary Daniels films, which you can't see because of the glare. Gary Daniels movies. American Street Fighter, Black Friday, Blackjack. I don't know why that's there. Oh, that was supposed to go in the Lundgren area, which is right next to it. Anyway, Blood Moon, which is phenomenal. A phenomenal action movie. Blew me away the first time I saw it. Check this one out. One of Gary Daniels' best. Just paced so well. The action's great. Gary Daniels is an English martial artist, by the way. Martial arts actor. And I think he's good. He's not great. He's kind of wooden at points. He's kind of similar to Chuck Norris in that sense, but he's fun to watch, and that's all that really it comes down to. Talking about, this is his best movie in my opinion. This is a sci-fi actioner, post-apocalyptic, starring Gary Daniels, directed again by Isaac Florentine. And man, this was my first exposure to Isaac Florentine a few years back, and wow, I was blown away, and I had to look into this guy's other work, and wow across the board. Every single movie of his, almost every single movie of Isaac Florentine's is just great in terms of the action. So, Cold Harvest is badass. Some really great set pieces in this. Check it out. This may be the worst title of any film ever. Definitely in my collection. Diamond Cut Diamond. I hate that title. It's a Gary Daniels film, though, so I own it. Riot, this is a good one, starring Sugar Ray Leonard, of all people, who I wish was in the film more. He wasn't bad. Riot, one of Gary Daniels' best. Great movie, great action, and this is a PM Entertainment movie. This one's directed by Joseph Murray, and yeah, just great stuff. Now we get into Dolph Lundgren, who I have to admit is not my favorite. I'd rather watch a Gary Daniels film than a Dolph Lundgren film. I know. Now, that's not to say... Now, Lundgren does have a couple movies that I think are better than all of Gary Daniels' films. Army of One is excellent. Not excellent. Army of One is good. A good action movie that overstays its welcome a bit. It's a bit overlong, in my opinion. Vic Armstrong directed this one. He directed a few films, but what he's mostly known for is stuntman. He was the stuntman for Harrison Ford during a lot of his career, especially in the Indiana Jones movies. Vic Armstrong was the guy that you saw on screen most of the time during the action sequences, so Vic Armstrong is known for that, but he's not a bad director in terms of action. Bridge of Dragons, this is actually a Florentine film released by New Image that I haven't seen, so I'm expecting this one to be one of Lundgren's best, or at least one of my favorites of his. Cover Up, haven't seen. Hidden Agenda, haven't seen. Peacekeeper, not a bad one. Pretty cool, pretty good. A couple good action sequences. Now this one I need on Blu-ray, and I need to upgrade because this is full screen, and I can't get down with that, man. But Showdown in Little Tokyo is excellent. Dolph Lundgren and Brandon Lee, and they play off each other phenomenally. That rhymed really cool. Mark Lester, great movie that I need on Blu-ray with a great cover. Look at that. Beautiful. One of Lundgren's best, if not his best, and one of Brandon Lee's best, if not his best. That and Rapid Fire. Silent Trigger. Dolph Lundgren movie directed by Russell Mulcahy. Drenched in atmosphere. Sort of a sniper type of movie with some big-ass guns. Got some steamy romance. Pretty good movie. And we get into... Stormcatcher. Yeah, I haven't seen that one. Then we get into Chuck Norris. Hellbound, Hitman, Forced Vengeance. I've seen Hellbound and Forced Vengeance. Both are great. Or, great in terms of Chuck Norris movies. Hellbound's actually got a little bit of horror in it. It's kind of a buddy cop horror actioner. Not a bad movie. Forced Vengeance is great, though. Bells of Innocence. I hear this is sort of a Christian horror movie starring Chuck and his brother. Not expecting much out of this one. Gotta be honest. But I have it because it's in the Chuck collection. Speaking of another one that I don't expect much from, the last film starring Chuck Norris, The Cutter, which has more stickers on it than I can... How do you even end up with this many stickers on a box? That is just crazy, and there are none on the back, of course. Anyway, Hero and the Terror, which I hear is sort of the slasher film of Chuck Norris, you know, that a lot of people like. Haven't seen it. Invasion USA, though, one of his best. Balls to the wall action movie. Just crazy. Some shit happens in this movie that I just was like, no. Did they really just kill all those innocent women and children? Yes, they did. It's great. I think I need help. Missing in Action, 2 and 3. Haven't seen these. I've seen the first one, of course, and it's great, you know, Chuck. President's Man 1 and 2, some of his early 2000s movies or late 90s. Haven't seen them. I've heard they're decent. Top Dog, which is not decent, but I grew up with it. I enjoy it still. Seagal, Belly of the Beast. This is Siu Tung Xing, who is a great Hong Kong action director and film director. Haven't seen this one though. I'm hoping it's decent because it's Seagal and early. How do I say? It's the second phase of Seagal. I consider the 90s his first phase, late 80s and 90s, and then the second phase where he just continuously makes shitty movies and he's like damn near 70 now. So this was towards the beginning of that, so I'm hoping it's decent. Exit Wounds. Seagal, DMX, saw this in theaters. Had a good time. Still have a good time with it. Not a great movie, but it's not bad. Fire Down Below. This is a great Seagal film. Glimmer Man, another great Seagal film. And Keenan Ivory Wayans, you know, doing his action thing. Third time. He wasn't the star in it, but he was there. I do have... Damn, I get mixed up with some of these titles. I do have On Deadly Ground, but it's somewhere in my closet, in a box, unfortunately. That is a really good one, though. I like that one. Seagal directed it. Half Past Dead, prison film with Seagal and, like, Ja Rule and, like, Silk the Shocker, I think. Kill Switch, yeah. The Patriot, which I hear is ass. Pistol Whipped, not a bad movie. It's a Roll Rain film. And, yeah, not bad. Lance Henriksen as the villain. Not bad. Arnold Schwarzenegger, I have most of his films on Blu-ray, so there aren't many films here, but this one has Twins, Kindergarten Cop, which I own twice for some reason, and Junior. Twins I love. Kindergarten Cop I love. Junior I think is okay. It's got some moments that make me giggle. It's not bad. Well, it's bad. It's not... Stallone, Get Carter remake, haven't seen it. Lock Up, haven't seen it. Oscar, pretty decent mob parody movie. This one gets a lot of shit. It's a big director, I think. Yeah, John Landis. Yeah, not bad. Rhinestone, I'm good. I'm not probably ever gonna watch this, but I have to have it because I love Stallone. And a lot of his better, bigger movies I have on Blu-ray, so check out that video if you'd like. Stop or My Mom Will Shoot, I haven't seen that one. Black Eagle, haven't seen this one. Knockoff, great Ringo Lam, Van Damme star. Love this movie. I think this one's underrated. And what's this? Legionnaire, which I haven't seen. Oh, and this one that I dropped on the ground because it was out of place. This is a Lundgren film I haven't seen. This one's interesting because it's directed by John Woo. I think it was a TV movie. You know, one of the first films he did when he came over to America. After Hard Target, I think before Broken Arrow. But yeah, I do want to check this out. It's not supposed to be very good, but I do want to get my own opinion on it, so we'll see it at some point. I'll check it out. And going back up here. So now we get into Blaxploitation, which has its own section. Now, a lot of these I haven't seen because I found essentially... Oh, it's just there. Okay. So I found a lot of these at a flea market. A lot of the ones you see sealed. Which were released by a company called Blax, Blax. And I picked them all up. I mean, the guy gave me a great deal. It was like $0.25 a piece or something. He didn't give a shit about them. So I was like, I'll take them. Now, I am a fan of Blaxploitation. Haven't seen a crazy amount of them. But the ones I have seen, I do like. This one, badass, is Melvin Van Peebles. This is probably the film that started it all. In terms of Blaxploitation films and action and those type of gritty urban films. So it's really important. I don't think the movie's that great, but I do recognize its importance. His son, Mario, did a remake of this later, and I haven't seen that one or even own it. Big Birdcage, this is a Jack Hill movie. starring Pam Grier. This one's really good. Jack Hill did one of my favorite horror comedies called Spider Baby. Jack Hill was also known for writing a bunch of blaxploitation films. Black Belt Jones, I do own the first one. I'm not sure where it is. Might be in the closet, but I have seen the first Black Belt Jones, and it is a fun movie. This one has Bolo Young, which is pretty interesting, and of course Jim Kelly. Black Dynamite, I haven't seen this movie. I've seen so many scenes from it that I feel like I've seen it, but I haven't sat down and watched the whole thing. It's a blaxploitation spoof starring Michael Jai White, who's just perfect for that kind of thing, since he's not the greatest actor in the world, but still good enough to pull it off. Black Mama, White Mama. See, a lot of these just cool. Cleopatra Jones, this is a good one. Badass female-led blaxploitation. Coffee, talking about badass females. Pam Grier, love Pam Grier. Coffee, Foxy Brown, of course I have on Blu-ray. Cooley High, haven't seen this movie, but I've heard great things. More of a comedy. Cornbread, Earl and Me, another comedy. This is really early Lawrence Fishburne. Look, he's like a kid. He's like 15. Unbelievable. So yeah, definitely want to check that out. A couple Rudy Ray Moore films, Dolomite and Disco Godfather. I just picked up, well actually I'll save that for a pickup video, never mind. Harder They Come, Jimmy Cliff movie. This is basically a Jamaican gangster film that I have to see. Great soundtrack. This, in fact, comes with the soundtrack. I also have it on vinyl. Great soundtrack. I've listened to the soundtrack quite a bit, actually. The Mac, One Down, Two to Go. I'm a big hip-hop fan, so a lot of these films I grew up listening to rappers talk about. Penitentiary, talked about this one recently. There's another Rudy Ray Moore, Rude. Shaft in Africa. The remake of Shaft with Sam Jack. Slaughter. Jim Brown needs a new case really badly. Superfly, this is a great blaxploitation film starring Ron O'Neal, who's got the illest perm right there. Yeah, man. Great blaxploitation. Superfly, one of the greatest soundtracks of any film ever by Curtis Mayfield, who makes an appearance in the film. Superfly. Oh, wow. I just made a grave mistake, my friends. I do own Mario Peoples Badass. This is it. The one that I was talking about as if it was Melvin is not. This is the remake, so I do own it. And over here is Sweet Sweetback's Badass Song, which is the original. So apply everything I said about that movie to this. This is the prototype blaxploitation film. Wow, I'm an idiot. TNT Jackson, Truck Turner, Isaac Hayes. Great stuff. That's the end of the blaxploitation. Coming down here, we have my little, Willie Dynamite. That's leftover blaxploitation that couldn't fit on that shelf. Thanks, voice crack. Then we have our comic book movies here. Captain America. These are from the 70s. These are real bad and awesome. Catwoman. Can't wait to watch this. Never seen it. Heard really bad things about it. We got the Crow movies here. You know, City of Angels, Salvation, and Wicked Prayer. Haven't seen any of the sequels. Love the original. This is a weird one I ran into at the flea market. G-Men from Hell, which is apparently based on a graphic novel. So, that should be fun. Stan Lee's Lightspeed. Don't think this was based on a comic book, but Stan Lee created this character. It's like a superhero film from the 2000s. So maybe this will make it into one of my underrated superhero films, or not. Mystery Men. Hell yeah. Love this movie. This is flipping the whole idea of superheroes on its head, and really interesting film. This was based on a comic. Great cast. Fucking Kel from Kenan and Kel. Ben Stiller. Alan Cumming. No, Pee-wee. Oh my god. Paul Rubens, of course. And William H. Macy. Great movie. Love Mystery Men. Need that on Blu-ray. Don't know if it's available on Blu-ray. Dolph Lundgren in The Punisher. I didn't know whether to put this with the Lundgren films or with the comic book films. This might be my favorite Lundgren film. This and Showdown in Little Tokyo. Louis Gossett, Dolph Lundgren. Such an underrated Marvel film from the late 80s. Awesome movie. Another underrated comic book movie with another great performance as the Punisher is Thomas Jane, who's billed as Tom here, and John Travolta. Brutally violent, hard R, which both of these films are hard R, by the way. The Shadow. I've got a couple Shadow movies here from the 30s. Steel. Shaq. Never saw this one growing up. I loved Kazam, though. So, Steel, looking forward to watching this. Probably not going to be great. What do we got here? What's my downed one? Supergirl. You guys gotta love my dividers. One day I'll get like simple dividers, but for now it's just the movie. Or the last film alphabetically. Little disaster movie section here. Airport. Asteroid, which is... I have it in this protective case because it's pretty hard to find and expensive. Michael Biehn, 90s asteroid disaster film. I think it was a TV movie. Black Sunday. It's a Frankenheimer film. Never even opened it. China Syndrome, The Core, which I've talked about recently. Day After, really good nuclear war type of film. Post-nuclear war type of film. Great Los Angeles Earthquake. This is a 90s TV movie. Haven't seen. Hindenburg. Talked about that recently. Tidal Wave. It's a Korean disaster film. Korea has some really cool disaster movies, by the way. Tidal Wave. No Escape. Starring Corbin Burnson. Directed by George Miller. And no, not the George Miller that you and I are both thinking. The George Miller who did Neverending Story 2. My little video game section here. Recently got my Blu-ray video game movies all together. Alone in the Dark, Juve Bowl, Blood Rain, Juve Bowl, both Juve Bowl movements. That was a stretch. Dungeons and Dragons, which I guess isn't technically a video game. I mean, of course there are Dungeons and Dragons games and inspired by Dungeons and Dragons games. But board game, yeah, sure, that works. Or tabletop game, that works. House of the Dead, another trash-ass Juve Bowl film. Another really bad one. It's not fun. Yeah, no, it's not fun. One Shanbara, which I've never played the games, but apparently that's based on a game. Alright, and then we get into... This is a tough section. I think I'm going to put these in with the rest of my action movies, because I call this my non-Chinese martial arts films, but there are a lot of martial arts films in action that may belong there, so I may just... incorporate these into the action movies at some point. I don't know. American Ninja 5. I do own all the American Ninja films. The first 4 I own on Blu-ray from overseas. This one's supposed to be garbage. American Samurai. David Bradley and Mark Dacascos. Mark Dacascos, I believe, is the villain in that, if I remember correctly. Pretty good movie. Some good sword fights. Azumi 1 and 2. Some Japanese... samurai, they look like samurai films I haven't seen. So here we get a little weird. Bloodsport 3, Bloodsport 4, I have Black Mask on blue, Kickboxer on blue. Then we got Kickboxer 2, 3, and 4. And then American Kickboxer 1. I love how pretentious that title is. They knew that they were going to be making a sequel. So they called it American Kickboxer 1. And yes, they did make a sequel, which is in this set, which has Black Mask and Kickboxer from this set, but then has American Kickboxer 2 and The Blood of Heroes randomly, which is a really good post-apocalyptic sports film in a lot of ways with Rutger Hauer. So, weird, but yeah, I think I explained that as best as I can. Budo, this is I had no idea. It's like a documentary about samurais? Sure, I'll take it. Bunch of Sonny Chiba. This one has Legend of the Eight Samurai, which I have seen. No, G.I. Samurai. That's the one I have seen on this set, which was really long, but not bad. It was kind of like a time travel samurai film. Not as cool as it sounds, but not bad either. This one has some great Sonny Chiba films now. The Street Fighter, which I have seen, Return of the Street Fighter, which I have seen, both great movies. Some of the greatest action movies of the 70s, in my opinion. Chiba was the man. The Street Fighter's Last Revenge, haven't seen it, and Sister Street Fighter. I own both Sister Street Fighters on Blu-ray, actually, and haven't seen those either. The Executioner, I've seen the first one. Excellent Sonny Chiba shit right here. Love it. Gymkata, haven't opened this yet. Saving that for a rainy day. And a lot of booze. Kibakichi. I believe this is like a werewolf monster movie of sorts. Like Japanese samurai monster movie. Sign me up. The Legend of the Eight Samurai. This is on this set here, but this set is pretty... how do I say... poorly transferred. So this is Legend of the Eight Samurai, which I hear is sort of a Star Wars kind of ripoff. So, yeah, sounds good to me. Mirage Man, I believe this is a Mexican martial artist superhero sort of film. Some ninja films released by Tai Sung. Bunch of cool stuff there. Can't go wrong with a bunch of ninja movies. Ong Bak, which I need on Blu-ray. I have 2 and 3 on Blu-ray, but not the first one. And the first one's really the only one worth watching. So, go figure. Red Ninja. This looks like really cool kaiju ninja stuff from the 60s. Looking forward to that. Some samurai stuff, Shinobi. More Sonny Chiba, Shogun's Ninja. Spirited Killer, this is early Tony Jaa stuff. Here it has some horror elements. Zatoichi, this one's all messed up, water damaged, but it is what it is. This one of the final Zatoichi films here. Alright guys, and that concludes the first half of my first shelf. So I'm gonna try to get this into 6 parts, guys. I don't want to make these too long. I don't know if you enjoy them being this long, so I don't know. I'm gonna split this up into 2 for sure, and then I think 2 for the other 2 shelves. So we'll see. But that is the first 5 shelves. So we covered the action, straight up action movies. We covered, you know, some of my favorite action heroes here from the 90s. And then we got the Blaxploitation. We've got comic book movies, disaster, video game, and then martial arts, quote unquote. All martial arts except for Chinese, which we will get to. I have a lot of them. A ridiculous amount of them. So, stay tuned for part 2, guys. Thank you for checking this out. If you hung in this long, I really appreciate it. Feel free to, if you enjoyed this, to give me a thumbs up. Leave a comment below letting me know what some of your favorite films that I showed and talked about are. And if you're new to the channel, feel free to subscribe and hit the little bell for notifications so you could be notified when I do release a new video. Otherwise, guys, I will see you next time. Bored Cyborg, out. Focus, damn it. There we go. Peace.